My brother Anthony Murphy and I, Mary Murphy, lived in Barkstone Street off Upper Conan Street in Harbour Hay when the bombs dropped, and we were then evacuated to Bacup. Yeah, there was a cinema just off Moston Lane, and the bomb dropped there, and so that's why we were moved to Bacup, and we went from Newton Heath railway station and evacuated to Bacup. We went to a house where there was a gentleman and a housekeeper, but the man wasn't very nice to us, so my mother had us moved to another house in Bacup near the railway station. We went to St Margaret's School, Catholic school. Anyway, after a few months, my mother, being a young widow, missed us so much. Her brother, Arthur, she got him he was a salesman, so he had a white van. So he came and he brought us home. All I remember it was very, very hilly, which it is. But I've been back to Bacup with John since a few years ago to try and find out what Bacup was like, and it was just like I imagined it. We moved to Middleton because of the bombs being dropped in Manchester, and we lived near the Warwick Mill on Ashton Lane in Middleton. So of course the bombs were coming over then to Ambrose. Well, it was at Ambrose in them days, and of course we heard the planes coming over regular. The sirens would go, and my mother would gather us all up and would go into the air raid shelter, which I loved because it had a carpet down, and I thought it was great. As the war progressed and me and my brothers got older, we used to go up Alcrington over the moss, because there was hardly any houses up there in them days, and we used to collect shrapnel. We thought it was absolutely marvellous. When the war finished, I was 11, and we lived near the town centre, and I could hear them all. We were all hanging out the window. We could hear them all singing and laughing, and all jolly they were. But my mother wouldn't let us go down because she was very protective of us, and we were only young. But I wished I would have been a bit older, because a lot of the older girls used to go down to Eaton Park where the GIs were, and the Burton Wood and that, and they used to go, and I thought I wished I was old enough to go and see a GI and that, because we saw a sailor, we used to touch the sailor on his shoulder for luck. And then I remember the very first soldier coming in our road near where I lived. I remember the first soldier coming home, and he was called last name was Singleton, and he was coming home from the army, and we were all really, really thrilled to bits. Although it was a horrible war for everybody, when you were little like that, it was exciting, and because you didn't understand anything. I remember the German soldiers from the war. I think they were in more clothes, and they were prisoners of war. And we used to go up and stand and look through the railings at them. I mean, my mother used to sell her tea coupons for butter, because some of the neighbours worked in the mill, the Warwick Mill, and of course butter would go rancid, wouldn't it? So we never drank tea, so my mother used to give them tea coupons, and then we always had best butter. Oh, in all the pubs, every pub had a piano, and everybody used to sing. Hang out the washing on the Sea Free line, and Vera Lynn. All the pack up your troubles in your old kit bag. I remember all the songs because we used to sing them, and we sang them as we got older, really, after the war, when we'd had a few drinks.